Good evening, this is Viewpoint. I'm Zaka Jacob. Bollywood actress Jacqueline Fernandez has been questioned once again by the Economic Offences Wing of the Delhi Police. The questioning is currently on. The police's charge is that she was an active accomplice to conman Sukesh Chandrasekhar. She was the beneficiary of expensive gifts, luxury cars included, worth more than 5 crore rupees, and all of this were proceeds of crime that Sukesh indulged in. She, on the other hand, has denied all these claims. She says she doesn't know who Sukesh was or what his criminal antecedents were. It boils down to one question, and it's a very simple one. How can Bollywood celebrities, actors, A-listers like Jacqueline Fernandez, who are so protected, there's an entire entourage that you have to go through before you get through to them, how can they fall to the cons of a fraud like Sukesh Chandrasekhar? Or, as the Economic Offences Wing would have you believe, was she a willing accomplice to his fraud? All right, I want to first go across to my colleague Anvit Srivastava, who's joining us live from the Economic Offences Wing of the Delhi Police here in central Delhi. Anvit, first things first, what exactly is it that the Delhi Police are trying to ascertain from Jacqueline Fernandez? She was called in for questioning last week. Again, today's questioning has been going on since 2 o'clock in the afternoon. What exactly do they believe is her role in this entire con that was spread by Sukesh Chandrasekhar?
Yes, Zaka, this is the second time that Jacqueline has been summoned by the EOW, and earlier she was questioned on September 14th, and today she has been questioned. It's been almost 4 hours, and we are learning that she is about to leave soon. This is the EOW office where she has been questioning. She is being questioned for the past more than 3 hours, and what we are learning is that some senior officials just left the EOW premises, and that is the reason why it is speculated that Jacqueline also might soon leave, and her questioning for today has been done. The lines on which Jacqueline has been questioned today, what we've learned for our sources in EOW, is that mostly on her bank transactions, on the loans which she had allegedly received from Sukesh Chandrasekhar, and which the police are saying that were from the proceeds of crime, from the very much from the 215 crore rupees that he had extorted, from Aditi Singh, wife of Shivinder Singh, who is lodged in jail. Now, today's questioning was very much on, she had been asked, her lawyers had been asked to give details about her travel expenses. It is also being said that Sukesh had bought for them some plush travel and travel packages. So all those details are being checked. They have also been asked to submit the details so that they can link it whether or not that money had come in from Sukesh's account or from anyone else who is closely linked to Sukesh. On the previous date, the Delhi Police had also summoned Pinky Irani, who is said to be a close associate of Sukesh Chandrasekhar. It is also believed that she was the one, she was the contact person between Sukesh and Jacqueline, and she had introduced them to each other. And therefore, Pinky Irani and Jacqueline were confronted with each other, which led to a heated argument between them, because Pinky Irani had very much supported police's theory that Jacqueline knew of Sukesh's antecedents, and knowing that, she had accepted all the luxury gifts and loans and whatever Sukesh had gifted her during that time. But Jacqueline, however, even that day, continued to refute these claims and kept on saying that Pinky Irani was lying. Now today, Lipakshi, who is believed to be costume designer of Jacqueline, she was also called. However, she has sought for another day. She is expected to come either tomorrow or day after. She has been called because earlier when EOW had probed in, they had found that Sukesh has also gifted an 8 lakh worth Ducati bike to Jacqueline's manager. So Lipakshi has also been called. She will also be questioned on similar lines. And today's questioning, as far as it's concerned, we are learning that it is done now, and Jacqueline can leave this premises of EOW anytime now.
All right, we'll leave it there, Anvit. We'll see how the story plays out. Meanwhile, let me now open this up to our guests who are joining us. Anand Kumar is a film director, Manvi Taneja, actress and model, joining us, Swapnil Kothari, lawyer, and Karnail Singh is former director of the Enforcement Directorate. Anand Kumar, let me start with you first. This is what the ED has said in its supplementary charge sheet filed on the 17th of August, that they believe Jacqueline received gifts worth more than 5 crore rupees, 5.71 crore, including expensive cars. Sukesh is said to have delivered all these gifts to Jacqueline through his friend and their common friend Pinky Irani. The question is, all of these are recoverable items. The gifts that were given to Jacqueline, why did she accept? And that too coming in from a stranger, if we were to believe her.
Well, this guy wouldn't have been a stranger for sure, because these are such expensive gifts. Even if you are in Bollywood or wherever you are, you can't be taking
Yes.
such expensive gifts and flaunting it. And it's not something you can just put it in your purse and keep it for your this thing. Someone in the event would also try and give you a watch which you can take care. All these things happen. For a Bollywood actress, it's not a big deal, but taking a car or something like this, you have to really know this guy very well, very
Exactly.
well. So, but saying this, I don't want to buy one thing that she was recently. I just read that she was in love with this guy. This must be a really some PR exercise going on, because you just want to tell the world that even she was conned, something like that. That's what is coming, but. Definitely, she won't be knowing that this guy is such a big fraud. But then recently, this has also come in the media that even after all these things, she came to know she was still taking gifts. That's really very strange, because she's.
I want to
as she
ask
said.
Mr. Karnail Singh, as a former director of the Enforcement Directorate. This is what Jacqueline Fernandez's lawyer told CNN News 18 last week. That they are completely denying the allegations in the charge sheet. He is saying that she's a victim, not an accused, and there have been other Bollywood actors as well who have been named as witnesses, none of whom have been added as an accused in the Enforcement Directorate supplementary charge sheet. Does that defense hold water?
See, once she has come to know, as you see from the charge sheet of Enforcement Directorate, that she had come to know about the background of this person. And even thereafter, she received the money. And she should have returned the amount once she came to know that this man is a cheat.
Correct.
He was already facing cases against him of cheating, but she did not do it. And if you see, the economic offences wing is also investigating not only in cheating, they are investigating the case of Makoka.
Yeah.
And if you see section 3, part 5 of Makoka, it says even holding of the proceeds of crime is also offense under Makoka, and there's a serious punishment can be there for that.
Let me ask Manvi Taneja, what the ED is saying in its charge sheet is that Jacqueline is an accused in this case, and she is directly or indirectly involved in the proceeds of crime. The charge sheet also goes on to say that the actress knew about the accused conman Sukesh Chandrasekhar's involvement in criminal cases, but she chose to overlook his criminal past and indulged in financial transactions with him. I think from the charge sheet, it seems clear that she can no longer claim that either he was unknown to her or that she was unaware of his antecedents, because how do you accept gifts worth 5 crore rupees without checking up on somebody's background?
See, she was in a relationship with Sukesh, and I will still say in your debate that she was a victim of conspiracy. And if you are in a relationship with someone, it is not. You cannot say that every time the person will be truthful towards her. He must have lied, because, as I said earlier, that she would not be aware of his deeds, and the inquiry is set up just to establish that Jacqueline was aware about Sukesh's criminal background or not. And
but Manvi, isn't it amusing that you say that she was in a relationship, quote unquote, with him, when the charge sheet also says that she knew him through his actor wife, Leena Maria Paul? So if Jacqueline knew, and she's a Bollywood A-lister, that this is somebody who is married to Leena Maria Paul, A, why would she be in a relationship? And B, the common friend, Pinky Irani, that's the person on whom Jacqueline's lawyers at least seem to be pinning all the blame, saying that she was the via media, and it is through her that Sukesh was passing on all of these gifts. So to say that she's in a relationship, I don't think adds up.
such a huge industry it is, and there are so many people you meet. You go to an event, you go to a shoot, you go to any occasion or a party, you meet so many people, and you cannot have a background check. Even I'm a model, I go to an event, but I cannot have a background check. No matter, I can like someone, I can be with someone, but doesn't mean that I need to get a background check on someone and then I'll be with someone. I'll also give you my example over here. In 2019, P. Chitramban, he was in the jail, and many ministers went to meet him. That doesn't mean that these ministers were linked up with that person.
No, Manvi, there's a simple bottom line here. You may meet strangers, you may meet all kinds of people at award ceremonies, at shoot locations, at parties, so on and so forth. But you're not going to accept a Bentley car or a Mercedes-Benz car from anybody who you met at these events, unless you do a background check on that person.
She was in a relationship with that person, and people tend to hide. If a person wants to be in a relationship with a girl or a boy, they tend to hide their actual identity, and it becomes very difficult for a person. Again, I will say Sukesh used to manipulate his voice by using certain softwares and making a calls, pretending the calls have been coming from the ministry, like from law ministry or home ministry,
Okay.
and no number flashing. And how difficult it would be for him to manipulate Jacqueline or maybe any other person about his work or actual identity.
Okay, let me go to Swapnil Kothari. Again, it comes back to the exact nature of the relationship between Jacqueline and Sukesh. Manvi saying that they were in a relationship. Her lawyers are completely denying that. The question again comes back to Swapnil, that to get through to A-list actors like Jacqueline Fernandez, you have to get through a whole entourage of personal assistants, makeup artists, managers, if you will, agents who manage these talents. And yet, are you telling me that here is a man who was sitting inside Tihar jail, managed to get through all these layers of security and entourage, right to the star, right to the inner circle of the star, and managed to con her? What does that say about the star and the entourage?
Zaka, it's very hard to believe. There's much more than what meets the eye. First of all, where did Sukesh get that kind of money? If you see, he had conned Aditi Singh, so-called conned, for some 200 crores. Aditi Singh is wife of Shivinder Singh, who himself was involved or is involved in a money laundering case for siphoning some thousands of crores of rupees. So obviously there seems to be a chain. Now, Sukesh Chandrasekhar is not the origin of that. I'm sure he's somewhere in between. So the Enforcement Directorate will be smart enough to investigate the entire chain of money, where it's flowing from. For a minute, I do not buy that Jacqueline Fernandez or any of those other women were, innocent as they claim themselves to be. If they are so, if I were to give them a benefit of the doubt, the onus lies very much on them, because this is a fiscal offense. It's for me to show that my tax has not been evaded by me. I paid the entire income tax. The onus lies on me in a fiscal offense, just as it lies on them to show that the money that they received, the quid pro quo that they received, or the gifts they so-called received, were only from, receiving from their beau, or, just out of love, and they had nothing to show or nothing to hide in it, and they did not know, and they were absolutely unaware.
The moot point here is, how do you prove that these gifts were proceeds of crime? That is what it boils down to.
Right. Very, very good question. Now, if I do not have a legitimate source of income, being Mr. Sukesh, whoever he is, whatever his last name is, and doesn't have that kind of income to throw that kind of money around, and you yourself have conned somebody for 200 crores, who the wife of who himself is involved in a money laundering case, then obviously you're some sort of a conduit pipe. Now, if you are that conduit pipe, obviously you are having those proceeds of crime, because you don't have a legitimate source of income to show. You're not earning like what a superstar, whoever say Akshay Kumar or is, who's earning in hundreds of crores to show that, okay, I can have 200 crores and my income is 500 crores, right? You're not that. Secondly, then if you're parting with that money and you're giving this huge kind of gifts, obviously the recipient of that needs to do a background check, or needs to show that I was so involved and so enamored and so much in love that I did not bother to do a background check. Now that onus lies on that person. So it's very easy for the Enforcement Directorate to show that these are proceeds of crime, simply because you do not have that kind of income. You're not a superstar. You're Mr. Sukesh. You're someone who cons people day in, day out. And where did you get that kind of money to throw it around on several women? I mean, obviously you're a part of some sort of a chain, right?
No, so I want to ask Anand Kumar this. The ED in its supplementary charge sheet is also saying that Jacqueline Fernandez received 5.71 crores worth of expensive gifts from conman Sukesh Chandrasekhar. But she is, and I quote, trying to justify herself that she was in fact the victim of manipulative actions by Sukesh. and not someone who was willingly an accomplice to his crime. Now, it boils down to, if Jacqueline claims that she was a victim and that's her version, how can a well-educated public figure who has managers and agents and entourage around her fall to this con, this elaborate con, pulled off from inside the Tihar jail? Surely, you do a Google search on Sukesh Chandrasekhar, it'll throw up more details than the level of trust that Jacqueline seemed to have shown.
Well, as I clearly said, that I don't buy the story that she was in a relationship, but coming from where she's coming from, Sri Lanka, because she's not an Indian. And this is pure greed, I feel, because, she charges more than 25-30 lakh rupees for an appearance. And she is here since a decade. So last 5 years, she must be really making solid money, solid. And she is around the best looking men in the industry. Why would she date Sukesh? It cannot happen. But saying all these things, that how she could take all these things is something very, a lot of thought has gone, but, nobody could take such a gift. But just that, because she is not an Indian girl and she has just come out from these, because the motive of all these foreigners coming to India is just to make money, however it may come, or what it means. You understand, their whole idea is to just make money however it is, because after knowing the fact that he's a criminal and his background is this, you've still accepted these gifts, and you're trying to blame everything on Pinky. It's all
Manvi Taneja, isn't it hard to believe that this whole thing is being pinned on Pinky Irani? Because even if she was a via media, even if she was a conduit, and admittedly she may be, but it's Jacqueline who got quote-unquote conned by this entire thing, pulled off by Sukesh. The ED also, it was widely reported that Sukesh was reportedly giving instructions from inside the jail to transfer money to Jacqueline's family members. That's what the ED charge sheet says. Surely, if money was transferred to Jacqueline's family members, and that too upon instructions from Sukesh sitting inside jail, then this is an open and shut case, because if she also was aware of the fact that Sukesh was married to a small-time actor, Lena Maria Paul, it does raise suspicion that why was money being transferred to her relatives? If for whatever reason she was being used for some services, she was being asked to come for an award show, or she was asked to come in for an advertisement performance, it is she or her managers or people who are managing her finances who should have been the beneficiaries or recipients of this transfer, not her relatives.
I think we are no one to come to a conclusion and just predict that.
No, that's what the ED is saying in its charge sheet.
So let the inquiry going on. Let the inquiry going on, because still EOW, we are yet to receive a supplementary charge sheet from them. Let the inquiry come out and we'll get to know. And I'll also say here, Monica Bedi, she was the wife of an underworld Don Abu Salim. She was married to him. Earlier she was in a relationship, but later on, when the charges were booked against her, and people were saying that she was involved, and eventually what happened, she got away with the case. So I think we should not come to a conclusion that she got so many cars or horses or what not. It's going on the debate. Let the actual charge sheet come. We are no one to judge on someone's relationship or someone's background check, because here I'll give you one example. If you stay with a person for 10 years also, you will not be able to do a background check. I have one example of Raj Kundra. He was into the pornography case, but Shilpa was not involved. Having said that, Shilpa was his wife, and then she was not aware, because people do hide stuff. People do hide their identity, and people do hide when you are into
Okay, I'll give Karnal Singh the final word. Is it possible, Manvi Taneja giving the example of Monica Bedi and Abu Salem, and maybe even to a lesser extent Shilpa Shetty and Raj Kundra, and the wives didn't seem to know what the husbands were up to. Is it possible that that's the case, or is that a charitable view of what Jacqueline's role is allegedly supposed to be in this entire con?
So Chandra introduced himself as owner of Sun TV. So number one, it is easy to find out whether he who is introducing himself, whether he's owner of Sun TV or not. That is one. Number two, when she came to precisely, and ED charge sheet says very clearly that in a particular month she came to know, and she saw the on the internet about their activities, and thereafter you are receiving the money, you are not returning the money, and money is going not even in India, it is going to her brother, her sister.
Correct.
In Australia, in UK, and in USA. Why somebody will give so much money, and how will get so much money with him? That somebody should ponder about it. And after one comes to know that this person is involved in the cases previously, even after that you are continuing the process, that is, you know about this person, and you know that this person cannot have the white money with him, and he is cheating from the day one. Actually, if you see,
okay,
he is telling that he's owner of the Sun TV. One can see immediately that he is not the owner of the Sun TV. That could be found out easily. There's nothing to.
Swapnil, I said this earlier as well. I mean, all it took would have been a small Google search. I refuse to believe that actors who are so protected refuse to do a simple background check on people that they're receiving gifts and money from. I'll give you the final word. I got a minute to wrap up. Yeah.
Right. Thanks, Zaka. Well, let me tell you, even if I give her a complete charitable view and I say that she was a woman completely lost in love and enamored, it is unfortunately now the ball is in her court. She will have to really go, right up to the skies to show that the money that she received is something that she was totally unaware of. And that is a gargantuan task, let me tell you that, given the kind of suspicions that Enforcement Directorate has when you have that kind of gifts, which are some 20 dresses and 40 pairs of shoes and cars and, a horse and all of those things. It's and especially from the kind of the person that you've received, Zaka, that is going to be a big, big, big problem.
Correct.
For somebody who's in her place, and all the rest of the other women too, possibly, who may be called in for questioning at some point or the other, which I do see that.
We'll leave it at that. We'll see how the story plays out for Jacqueline Fernandez and the other Bollywood actors who've been named as witnesses. But I want to move on from this story to a political story. Captain Amrinder Singh, former Punjab Chief Minister and long-time congressman, today deciding to merge his party, the Punjab Lok Congress, with the BJP. Let's listen in to what Captain Amrinder Singh said.
Minister Sahiban, मैं पंजाबी पहला बोलांगा क्योंकि पंजाब के लोगों को ये गल उत्थे पहुंचनी चाहिए है। फिर उस तो बाद जो तुसी चाहोगे मैं उस विच भी थोड़ा बहुत थोड़ी गल्लां कर सकांगा। मिनिस्टर साहिबान और अज साडे इत्थे विराजमान सारे मेरे साथी और साडे पार्टी के सारे मेरे इधर सारे नहीं आ सके, कुछ दूजे कमरे दे विच भी ने। असी सारे उरे आए हैं इसलिए कि मैं बाहर जाने तो पहला जो मेरा थोड़ी स्पाइन की प्रॉब्लम सी, मैं सारे नाल विचार किए और सारे दे विचार से कि अगर अपने पंजाब का कोई भविख देखना है बढ़दा तो हुण समय आ गया कि आपां बीजेपी नाल मर्ज करिए। तो मैं उदों फिर लिख दिता सी प्राइम मिनिस्टर साहब नूं, होम मिनिस्टर साहब नूं, नड्डा साहब नूं, सारिਆਂ ਨੂੰ कि मैं जाया वां, ऑपरेशन कराया वां और उस बाद मैं जब आऊँगा तो फिर मैं थोड़े नाल संपर्क जोड़ के उस तो बाद असीं थोड़े विच शामिल होवांगे। सारी पूरी संस्था जो साडी है जिन्हां दी विचारधारा इक्को ही है साडे वर्गी जो मैं अज गल कर रहे हैं। ये तो पहला कि मैं थोड़ियां गल्लां दो चार करां अपने साथी जिहड़े अज जुड़े ने उन्हां दे बारे मैं तुहानूं थोड़ा बहुत दसदा क्योंकि तुसीं देख तां लिते कि साडे ते सरोपे पा दिते ने, लेकिन जिहड़े इन्हां दे गल्लां सीआं इन्हां ने अपनी अपनी पूरी पंजाब दे विच अपने जो भी इन्हां ने कारनामे कीते, जिहड़ी पार्टी च रहे, जिहड़ा कुछ उत्थे कार्रवाइयां कीतियां, जिथे बण के इधर पार्लीमेंट च आए या उत्थे MLA च रहे, वो मैं थोड़ा जिहा तुहानूं दसना चाहुंदा। मेरे नाल बैठे ने सरदार अमरीक सिंह जी आलीवाल, ये पार्लीमेंट दे विच 2 बार रहे, लोक सभा दे विच, और स्टेट प्रेजिडेंट रहे 10 साल लई अकाली दल यूथ दे। and he is also chairman.
Amrinder Singh, former Punjab Chief Minister and long-time congressman, today merging his party, the Lok Congress, with the BJP. Let me go across to Maria Shakil, our political editor. Maria, so while he did fight an alliance in the last Punjab elections along with the BJP, the fact that now he's joined the BJP and merged his party into it, and coming at a time when Rahul Gandhi is busy on his Bharat Jodo Yatra, how significant is this politically speaking?
Yes, and it was almost something that was in the offing. So, and I think this is linked to BJP's plan Punjab, because we saw Sunil Jakhar, a significantly important leader of Punjab Congress, join the BJP, and he's trying to play that role in establishing the BJP in many ways in the state of Punjab. The BJP now, after having ended its alliance with the Akalis a couple of years ago, now are looking at Punjab far more seriously. So far, they were piggy riding on Akalis, not looking at expanding their footprints. With Captain on board, although he's 80 years old and is looking at a fresh start in politics, the BJP will be looking at Punjab, particularly for 2024, far more seriously. And of course, it's a setback for Rahul Gandhi, but then Captain quit the Congress much before the Punjab elections, Zaka. But optic-wise, it sends a message that while Rahul Gandhi may be talking about Bharat Jodo, those who had been associated with his party once upon a time do not have any faith in him at all. And I think the optics-wise, it doesn't mean well for Rahul Gandhi. And it is also coming at a time when several Congress units in multiple states have passed resolutions saying that Rahul Gandhi should become the next Congress president.
All right, Maria, we'll leave it at that. We'll see how the story plays out for Amrinder Singh, for the BJP's prospects in Punjab, and of course, what impact, if any, it may have on the Congress. All right, we're getting some breaking news from Bengaluru, where the aftermath of the floods was discussed today in the Assembly, and Chief Minister Bommai has assured action on the floor of the House. A task force will be formed to manage all rain-related issues. He's also given a commitment that there will be a separate grant in every year's budget to manage rain-related issues. Let me go across to Harish, who has more details on this. Remember, Bengaluru was flooded a couple of weeks back. There were large parts of the city that had come up in the last 15 to 20 years. The IT corridor, places around Marthahalli, the outer ring road, which were completely inundated and completely waterlogged. These were the nouveau-rich parts of town, the IT parks and so on, the new flats that had come up in the last couple of decades. All of that was completely drowned in water. And now the Chief Minister assuring on the floor of the House that there will be a separate budget to deal with this, as well as an inquiry which will have both judicial officers as well as technical experts to find out why there was this mass flooding in parts of Bengaluru. Let me go across to Harish, who has more details on this. Harish, so what else did the Chief Minister say, and was the opposition satisfied with the assurances he gave in the House today?
Well, the main grouse of the opposition has been that since Bommai took over as the Chief Minister, there has been not a single meeting about Bangalore's infrastructure, and none of these MLAs, remember, half of them from Bengaluru are from the Congress. None of them have been invited for a meeting with the Chief Minister. That has been their biggest grouse. Second, the government today tabled detail of the lakes that have been closed during Congress's regime. The Congress alleging that the BJP is not divulging details on the encroachment of stormwater drains that have happened in the last 15-18 years, when a significant amount of time was under BJP's tenure, either in the state government or in the BBMP, the local municipal body here. So the Congress alleging that the BJP is being very selective, even in divulging details to the floor of the House. And the other question is on what happened to crores of rupees that have been sanctioned over the last 2 years, nearly 350 crores just for the drains in the last 1 year or so for stormwater drains. The government saying that the Judicial Commission will also look into those details and ensure that it gives out a roadmap on how encroachments can be stopped.
Okay, we'll leave it at that. Harish Upadhyay, many thanks for joining us. So the Chief Minister making assurances on the floor of the House, whether that will translate and how much of it will translate onto action on the ground, that we'll have to wait and see. That's a wrap. But Anusha joining you with the biggest exclusive in just a moment.